of perhaps disgruntled stars? I don't know. Let's talk about LeBron James. He hit that absurd one-legged turnaround jumper to win the AllStar game the other night. Team LeBron beating Team Durant by 3. But it was his comments before the game that had a lot of people talking. And that leads us to our buddy Brian Windhorst and a fascinating piece that he posted yesterday. It's on ESPN.com right now. It is titled, LeBron James Used All-Star Weekend to Put the Los Angeles Lakers on Notice. And for this conversation, I bring our buddy Jay Will back into the conversation. Again, KJM on ESPN Radio. And here is Windy. So for those, Windy, who have not yet read the piece, what do you mean when you say he put the Lakers on notice?
Yeah, Greeny, I think the important thing to realize here is, from what I understand, this is not LeBron saying, I don't want to be with the Lakers. I don't want to be in Los Angeles. It's him saying, I'm not happy with the way nothing was done at the trade deadline, and I want you to know that this summer I expect you to make some changes. And absolutely it is true that bringing in Russell Westbrook was something that LeBron was heavily involved with. Having said that, he's ready to move on from it. And that is a clear message he is sending. And he also didn't like, Greeny, that Rob Pelinka came out after the trade deadline and indicated that LeBron was on the same page with not doing anything. I myself have occasionally in my career inadvertently said things that LeBron was trying to imply and been incorrect, and I have been put in the corner by Mr. James and his operation. So I know how Rob feels about this, but it is clear he didn't like that. The second thing I want to point out, I know he's been talking about playing with his son, Bronny. He absolutely wants to do that. He absolutely is potentially willing to play anywhere in the world to make that happen. But that is 2 years away. Bronny is 17, and I don't even know if he's going to be ready for the NBA at 19. Don't confuse the two situations.
Okay, fair enough. So, yes, the Bronny piece of it, the I might finish my career in Cleveland piece of it, we put those to the side for a moment, and then we turn our attention, Jay Will, to the Lakers and the moment here. How do you see it as far as this conversation?
Well, look, I mean, LeBron has been giving us messages, if that was quote tweeting Les Snead and blank them picks, right, and saying legend.
Oh, yeah.
If it's him calling Sam Presti, you know, the MVP, even though OKC has never won a world championship.
Right.
To me, this is going to come down to, who is Jenny Buss going to give power to? You have Clutch, and you have LeBron James, and then you have Rob Pelinka, right? If you look at it, Clutch Sports has had 8 players on their roster employed by the Los Angeles Lakers. 8, right? So you hear LeBron James say, well, you guys didn't make a move for a John Wall. Like, all of a sudden, he started throwing more shots at Rob Pelinka. So it comes down to, who is Jenny Buss going to give autonomy to help make the right decisions? I actually think they made the right move by not packaging the 2027 first-round pick and John Wall and Russell Westbrook for John Wall.
Right.
But it's a matter of what other moves are they going to make in the offseason to make sure that LeBron James finishes his career with the Los Angeles.
Well, that really is the question. Windy, what does he want? What do we know that he wants? Because he's got Anthony Davis, and the problem with Anthony Davis is exactly what the problem has always been, in that he's not available enough of the time to get you where you need to go. And then the Russell Westbrook thing has clearly not worked at all. And the league is littered with all of these really good former Lakers on all these different teams.
Even DeMar DeRozan, Greeny, DeRozan, an Aaron Goodwin client, right? You know the history between LeBron James, Aaron Goodwin. They said, no, we're not going to take DeMar DeRozan.
Sure.
So they ended up taking Russell Westbrook. So there's a lot of that Jenny Buss has to factor in as well.
So what do we know or think he wants from here, Windy?
What LeBron wants is for the organization to exhaust itself. He doesn't want anything left on the table. He wants every draft pick possible to be used. He wants every opportunity explored. He wants the Lakers to do what he does, which is exhaust himself. And this exhausts organizations. Trust me, when he left the Miami Heat, they were exhausted organizationally. Same in Cleveland, exhausted organizationally. The Cavs traded 7 first-round picks when he was in Cleveland. That's what LeBron wants. And Jeannie Buss has to safeguard the franchise. LeBron's not going to be there in 2027, 2029. It's a conundrum, but LeBron thinks it's a simple decision.
Well, I mean, on some level, I almost agree that it's a simple decision, which is if you have LeBron James at the very tail end of his prime, you tell me, Jay Will, if this makes sense. He's still theoretically in his prime. He's playing as well, frankly, as he pretty much ever has. But this clearly has to be the back end of his prime.
Yeah.
You do whatever you can to try and win right now. You don't?
I try, but I am also the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a bottom-tier team like an OKC or Sacramento. I am the Lakers. We expect sustained greatness every single year moving forward. So to what degree do I jeopardize the future of my franchise in order to try to pick up the pieces that, frankly, LeBron James has a huge say in bringing Russell Westbrook over to the table in the first place? And what assets do they have left to give? So how much do you put on the table?
But what's the value of winning one more title? If he could win one more title in the next 2 years, doesn't that make whatever it is you're talking about? You have to go about it pragmatically,
and you have to be fundamentally in tune with also, you can try to do both. What's in the best case of my organization moving forward, while trying to win now with the resources that we have now.
It's interesting because in this little conversation, Wendy, and I'll give you the final word, we've been talking about Aaron Rodgers and LeBron James, who are two all-time greats late in their careers, who we perceive both want their franchises to go for it right this minute and exhaust and put everything on the table in the interest of the short term trying to win a title. Wendy, put a ribbon on this. What else should the fans be thinking?
Well, they're also two guys playing at MVP levels. And so once LeBron James leaves, the Lakers will not be able to replace him. And I appreciate what Jay Will said. Absolutely, Russell Westbrook seems to be a mistake. But those players that Clutch helped bring to L.A., those are LeBron James. That's Anthony Davis. That's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. That's Taylor Horton-Tucker. These are the players that got the Lakers the title. So you can argue about whether or not a franchise should be in so close with the player and his representation. The Lakers don't have banner number 17 without LeBron and Clutch Sports. And if they want banner number 18, which Jeannie Buss has said is the most important thing to her to get past the Boston Celtics, her father Jerry's long-term goal, I think they're going to have to seriously consider going all in.
All right, we'll see what they wind up doing. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.